I studied Latin in school, forgot almost everything, learned Italian in school, and forgot almost everything too. After school, I tried to learn French, but gave up quickly. But now, eu estou aprendendo português. Eu ainda não sou fluente, mas nunca foi tão fácil para mim aprender uma nova língua quanto agora. Imagine learning a language like a 5-piece puzzle. Most methods people use to teach a language focus on 1 or 2 pieces of this puzzle, leaving you with an incomplete image. Although learning a new language is hard and challenging, giving up means a potential loss of several benefits such as high-paying careers, improved cognitive abilities, and reduction of risk of developing dementia. Let's build a small fundamental first. I did this by learning sentences, not words. In 2018, I started to date my now wife Lu, who is Brazilian. So to impress her and flatter her, I wanted to learn a few sentences in her native language. I learned how to say "you're beautiful" to Linda, and later "eu te amo" for "I love you." Slowly, I built up my small collection of sentences which are still to this day helping me. First of all, I don't need to think about word for word what I want to say, so I don't sound like
the Google Translate robot.
Instead, I can spit it out immediately. When a friend of Lou came over, she asked me some common questions like how I am and where I'm from, and then she said, wow, you're already fluent. And I was trying to make a joke and said, sim, eu sou quase fluente. I'm almost fluent. She was impressed and kept talking to me in Portuguese, not knowing I was just joking. I didn't understand any further question, and she noticed quickly and said, I really thought you were fluent because of how well you're pronouncing these words. And that's the power of learning sentences, rather just simple words. But wait,
there is one more little thing.
Those sentences are still a helping guide for confusing grammar. Every time I want to say something new in, let's say, the past tense, I think back to a sentence I already know in that tense, like eu voltei, I came back, and just use this as a reference. Additionally, you can use Duolingo or the premium version Bubble to learn a few more vocabularies. I use Duolingo too, but here's the reason why I'm not religious about it and why the teaching method of schools is wrong. The first words you will learn are words like shark and aunt. Honestly, I might have said shark once in my 3 months here in Brazil just because we went to a beach and I made a joke about getting eaten by sharks. Another reason why schools fail us big time is, remember when you made a mistake in school, you get punished with a bad grade, and further, you might feel embarrassed when speaking in front of the whole class because of this bad previous feeling? Here's another easy one for you. Get some posters and stick them around your house. This way you can learn a lot of things which you use on a daily basis. And let's say every time you pick up a plate, speak it out loud. And after a while, you don't even need those posters anymore. Try to combine it with our first puzzle piece. Start forming sentences around it. Eu pego o prato. I take the plate. Soon you will be able to say many sentences without even thinking, and it's not even hard. I wish school taught me these tricks. But let's come to the fun part. Watching anime in your wanted language. Quick note, it works better than real life shows and movies. The language is usually more simplified and the emotions and gestures are exaggerated. Alternatives can be cartoons, Disney movies, etc. But let me prove to you quickly while you learn much quicker with that technique. Now, let's look at this word, luce. What do you think this word could mean?
What?
We won't have any clue, and that's why schools fail us big times with their empty vocabulary lists. But what if you're gonna watch this scene? Could you guess what it means? To give you a quick summary about the scene, Luffy, the captain, and Usopp the Longnose have a fight about the ship. They have to abandon the ship, but Usopp is not really happy about the decision. So he runs out and he says to Luffy,
Quero que lute comigo!
So, eu means I, quero means want, que means that, comigo means with me, and luce means fight. So, I want that you fight with me. And here's another one, massa. Any clue? I'll help you. How about now? What could massa mean? Easy, apple. But there's more to why watching anime or similar is super helpful. I remember when I went to Canada and lived with a super lovely host family when I was 16. I had studied English for over 10 years. I remember when my host parents made dinner, they asked me if I liked cucumber in my salad. I had never heard of the word cucumber in my whole life and looked at them as confused as I could. A freaking cucumber, but I could name all the animals in a zoo. Guess how many times I went to a zoo in Canada? None. Thanks, school. So, watching anime is teaching day-to-day language. Yeah, you might pick up some words you probably won't need, such as pirates and islands, but you get the point, right? What is easier and more efficient when coming home from a long day of work? Picking up a stupid book of vocabularies or watching a couple of episodes of your favorite anime? And don't get discouraged. In the beginning, I didn't understand much, but hence the story of One Piece isn't too deep. It's not that hard to follow, and in case the story gets a little bit deep, I read a few summaries after watching a chapter so I'm not getting too lost. To the day of this recording, I still don't understand everything, but old words are repeated every often, which helps me to remember those, and new words are added to my arsenal. You have to combine it with the next puzzle piece if you want to have quick success. I use those, small, handy and convenient. I always have a pen and those flashcards with me when watching One Piece. And when there's a specific word I don't know and has been repeated a few times, I stop the video, take out Google Translator to look up the word. Then I'll write it on my flashcard. Every day I try to go through my flashcards, either in the morning or before going to bed, because repetition is key to memorizing your learned words. This is how I can impress my wife almost every day. And before we come to the next puzzle piece, let me show you why this is working so well. If we take a look at the learning pyramid, we can see that just by reading we will only remember 10%. And that's the method schools and language apps are using, but the method I'm using is of seeing and hearing, and let me improve this by 5 times, and with the repetition I'm even looking beyond 50%. Wow! Let's make it even more efficient, shall we? So all those pieces were mostly passive. Let's talk about the active piece in this scenario. Speaking, this is probably the most efficient part of my system, and I have an unfair advantage by living in Brazil. I can talk to the family of my wife and practice new sentences and words every day. But don't worry, there are possibilities for you to do the same. Nowadays, many people are looking to improve their language skills just as much as you do. For example, an app I used is HelloTalk. You can select your native language, the language you want to learn, and connect with people. You can talk one day in your native language to help others and the next day in your wanted language. Win-win for both. As I mentioned, my unfair advantage is living in Brazil. Watch this video on how I did it to also live an extraordinary life. See you there, my friend.